children. How are you doing? Yeah. We had stopped with chapter 2, Europe and India. So we'll continue with that chapter. Okay. So you're going to open up with page number 6. Okay. Now, the day we have started with Europe and India, we have seen the age of Renaissance and we have seen the age of revolution. We were doing with the age of revolution. Now, age of Renaissance we have seen. I have told you what is the meaning of Renaissance also. Renaissance means rebirth, revival, a new beginning that takes place is known as Renaissance. Okay, in the olden days people had certain beliefs, certain customs and cultures and some myths that they followed. They did not have that much of scientific knowledge as there were no much discoveries. So people were not knowing to read and write much that time, so they were misguided, and that's how later on with new discoveries and new technologies people found out that things are different, and then there was a reform or a revolution that took place, and there was a changed scene or a rebirth of every human culture, a rebirth of every new custom and culture that changed. Okay, we saw one example with how the printing press, the invention of the printing press gave birth there, and we saw that so many books more could be printed and it spread all over the world and people started reading them and getting lot of knowledge. We have seen Leonardo da Vinci also, how he has brought up a change into the paintings. The paintings earlier was more related to religion, but then later on they came up with new discoveries referring to nature, referring to human beings, referring to the emotions and sympathies towards human beings, depicting their life, and then there was a change. Okay, then which took place in the 13th and 14th century. Then we saw that the age of revolution. Then we saw so many discoveries also, how the Ottoman Turks overtook and they blocked the road, and since they blocked the road for trade between Europe and Asia, there was a necessity that the European countries had to discover new route so that they reach Asia for the trade purpose. And that's the reason how many people they traveled searching and making new discoveries for the trade purpose. As they were traveling and navigating for new roads and new routes, sea routes they were discovering, they were actually moving to India, but instead of reaching to India, they reached to Africa, that is the Cape of Good Hope, and that's how the Cape of Good Hope was discovered. Later on, then they reached to Calicut, that is Vasco da Gama, he reached to Calicut. Columbus reached to America and Vasco da Gama reached to Calicut, and that's how the new route towards Asia was discovered, and then again trade between Europe and Asia became more easier. Fine. Then after that we have seen the age of revolution. In that age of revolution we have seen the intellectual revolution that took place in Europe. Then we saw the revolution in political sphere, how the constitution was adopted, how the parliamentary system was adopted in England, and how the certain parameters or certain what you can say powers of the king were restricted, all was taken over by the parliament, and certain powers only were limited in the hands of the king and the queen. Okay, so now we come to the American War of Independence, which is an important war of independence. See the change that it brought into the world. Now, with the background of revolution, development in Europe, it is equally important to think about the American War of Independence. Now, with the discovery of America, the European countries turned their attention towards this continent, because earlier America was not discovered. Okay, Asia was discovered and people were going more to Asia, but since Ottoman Turks stopped the route, then they had to change. As they were going and changing, they discovered America also. So when they discovered America, what the Europeans started doing? Half few of them diverted their minds to America, towards the continent of America. and the imperialist European countries. They took control of the different regions in America and they started establishing their colonies. Now what are their colonies? They go and they capture a particular place and they start ruling and controlling that particular place, and that is how the colonies are established. Then England established 13 colonies on the east coast of America. So England, what it did, it established 13 colonies on the east coast of America. So we are doing now, I hope, sorry, I know we are doing with history. Okay, chapter 2. Europe and India. That's the continuation. Now 13 colonies were established. By whom? By the English in America. Okay, now see. Now, England established 13 colonies on the east coast of America. Initially, England had nominal domination over these colonies. That is a little bit of domination they had. But later, when the English Parliament, they laid down some oppressive restrictions. They made certain rules and regulations and they were strictly handling these colonies. Okay, and taxes also were levied on these American colonies. Now, the people in America got angry, saying that they always felt that this is our place, you have come, you have settled here, and you are taking advantage of the natural resources and things here. Till then it was fine. But when the oppression starts, that is forceful restrictions and forceful taxes and all such things start happening, the people in America got angry and they revolted against it. And the people in America revolted and England declared war now. England thought these people are revolting, so we are stronger than them, so we will go for a war. And they declared war to suppress these colonies. Then American colonies organized the army under the leadership of Mr. George Washington. And they finally won the war against England. So America was that strong. And this event which took place, why? Because England was trying to suppress and levy various restrictions and taxes. So America got angry and America was revolting against it. So to stop the revolt, England declared a war. Since England declared a war, America said we are also going to answer. And to answer that, under the leadership of Mr. or you can say Sir George Washington, America also fought the war. And finally, America won the war. And this event is known as the American War of Independence. A new nation known as then United States of America came up. That is USA of today. And with the federal government there, written constitution they had based on the principles of democracy was born, and that's how America became free. So they fought, they drew away England from there, and they had their own parliament, they had their own constitution, and they had a written constitution. Like earlier we saw in civics, India adopted the parliamentary system from England. But England, even earlier to this we saw, did not have a written constitution. They just have a Bill of Rights. That is through this that certain rules are given to the parliament, certain power is given to the parliament, and certain power is restricted in the hands of the king. So, but in America, all the power is in the hands of the constitution. Okay, and that's how they had their new parliamentary system. So this is what is the story of the American War of Independence. Now we come to the French Revolution. Okay, why did the French revolt and brought a change? So we come next to French Revolution. Now, in 1789 AD, the people of France, they revolted against the uncontrolled and unjust monarchy and feudalism. Now, listen again. In 1789 AD, the people of France, they went against what? They revolted against the uncontrolled and unjust monarchy. What is a monarchy? Monarchy is kingship, rule of the king. This rule of the king was uncontrolled and unjust, and feudalism was there and established a republic. Okay, so we'll see this event is known as the French Revolution. Now, the French Revolution, when took place, it gave three important messages and values to the whole world. What are they? You have to remember them. Okay, we see French Revolution. It gave three values. That is liberty, equality, and fraternity. Okay. Freedom, liberty, we are liberal, free, equal rights to all the people, fraternity. Okay, so these are the three values that the French Revolution gave. Why the French people fought? Why did they revolt? Because they did not like the uncontrolled and unjust monarchy that was taking place in France. And in the world history, this French Revolution is one of the good examples of the revolutionaries, and even the American independence, War of Independence also sets a very good example of the revolutions that have taken place in the world, because it was a study matter for most of the people. Most of the people who later on faced such problems had an inspiration from the American War of Independence and the French Revolution to fight for their betterment and development. Okay, see, in the world history, among the political revolutions, the American War of Independence and French Revolution has a very important place. Okay, then the third one is the Industrial Revolution. Now, see, in this Industrial Revolution, there is no much fights and all, nothing has taken place. Okay, first one we saw the American War of Independence, second we saw the French Revolution. Now you have the Industrial Revolution. So, what is this Industrial Revolution now? Earlier it was like this, that people did not have much discoveries made. Okay, few people who were well learned technologically, who were known, they discovered certain machines later on. Earlier to that, all the work was done by the human labor, that is handmade work was done. Okay, then now the thing was that when most of the time trade was carried on between Europe and Asia, there were many more things which were brought up and sold. Okay, so as and how people were going on with their personal trade, going on with their work, with their hands and all that. Later on, machines came into power. See, and they started manufacturing things on a greater level. So how it happened and why it happened, we'll see that. In the later period of 18th century, there were many technological innovations in Europe. Okay, that is, machines were developed. There was production with the help of machines running on steam. So there were many machines. Today machines are running on electricity, machines are running on fuel. There earlier machines were running on steams. Then the cottage industries were replaced by big factories. Now what are cottage industries? Cottage industries are the industries wherein people do a small amount of production from home, from a smaller place, where the investment of money also is small, scale, on a smaller scale. The people who are working, the laborers also are few in number there. Whatever production is done also is done at a lesser amount, and the distribution also is done in the local markets. That is, the production is not huge. So these are called cottage industries, but they were replaced with big factories. Now that all the work which is done in cottage industries is done by the human being with their hand. So that's why it took time. Like we can give you an example of handlooms wherein you saw that they have that they put up different colored threads into a machine there, and they keep pulling and weaving that sari. Maybe one sari or particular meter of cloth would take months together to be ready. But when machines came, it got ready faster, and people were not required to do all the weaving. So that is how cottage industries were replaced by big factories, because machines were placed instead of human beings. Then see, the cottage industries were replaced by big factories. Machines came to be used instead of hand looms. They are called hand looms. Now, railway and steamer, they became a mode of transportation. Earlier there was no railways and no much steamer. People would put them on the back of any animal, or they would put it into a cart and take from one place to another and towards the local and close by markets. But as railways and steamers were discovered, they became the mode of transport, so that these products started reaching to further places. Then the age of machines began, and that is known as the Industrial Revolution. Now this topic is very basic for you, just a beginning, the introduction. As you go in higher classes, you will be learning more about this in detail. That is, machines started producing more and more goods, and then they needed to be sold. So then they were sold out to more far places, and that is how a small, instead of a local market, it reached to a domestic market, from there to a state market, from there to the national market, and things started spreading on a larger basis. Then Industrial Revolution began in England first, and then spread in all the other parts of the West. And during this period, England enjoyed industrial prosperity. Many industries came up in England, and that is why England was called as the world factory. Right? So that is what we have known about the Industrial Revolution. That is the change that was there from cottage industries to handlooms. It went to big factories and machines. Okay. Now, with this, due to Industrial Revolution, there was rise of capitalism. Now, what is capitalism? Capital means collecting a lot of money together. Earlier, the businesses were done on a smaller scale. So, how much money I have, I would invest and do my business on a small scale. If the other person has little more money than me, he would do it a little more bigger business or a larger business than me. So individual people would invest individually and do their businesses individually. But this industrial revolution gave rise to capitalism, wherein many people came together and started investing their money. So there was more money invested by 10 people, and that together could give rise to a bigger business management. So I'll just see how it is. With the discovery of new sea routes, began a new era of trade between Europe and Asia. Okay, so new sea routes were developed already. So Europe and Asia started more trade between them. Many traders came forward to trade with Eastern countries. That is, Saudi is there, India is there, then China is there, through the sea route. Now, it was not easy to carry out trade single-handedly. So it's not easy that I alone take a big ship and put all the goods loaded on that, and I alone take it to another place and to another country and go and sell it out there alone like this. It's not that easy, because traveling so much, investment of money also was not that easy. So many traders, they came together and started the trade. So if 5 traders come together and bring their 5 types of materials, hire one big ship or take one big ship and go, it becomes more easy and more economical and cheap. Thus there was rise of many trading companies who came together. Trade with Oriental countries was very profitable, and responsible for economic prosperity. So Europe was having trade with India, as India was very rich at that time and today also. All the spices, all the tea and all these things and cotton was taken away from here. Okay, same way Saudi Arabia also was famous for certain goods. China was very famous for its silk, and that is the way how certain goods were taken from this place to another place, and that is how from Asian countries Europe prospered a lot into a business. Hence, European rulers started giving military protection and trade concession to trading companies. Now, since European rulers were getting lots of prosperity, getting lots of money there, and they were benefiting from who? Benefiting from these trading companies who take all their material and sell out into other countries, again pick some more material from there and bring back and sell out in Europe. So that's why the European rulers and kings who were there, they started giving military protection to these and trade concessions to those trading companies who helped them to prosper in trade. And this led to accumulation of wealth in Europe, and so they had lots of money due to this trade. This property was used in the form of capital for trade and commerce, which led to rise of capitalist economy in Europe. So when they were doing this business, lots of money was gathered together, and this money was used as a capital. Capital is what now? The money which is required to have a business. Suppose you want to start your business, you require money, and the money which is used for this business is known as capital. So how they got this money? By doing this trade and everything, and people, anyhow the European rulers gave them also lots of concessions, and they gave them military protections also, because they would help them sell out their goods from one place to another. So they got lot of capital, and this money helped them in prospering their businesses, and that is how there was rise of capitalism. Okay, now you come next to colonialism. Now what is colonialism? See, colonialism means one country, I'll just write it. Now we have already heard about colonies. Now what colonies gives rise to colonialism? Now colonialism means when one country is exploiting another country by making it into a colony. Like how England went to America and established 13 colonies. So England tried to establish 13 colonies in America. And what did England do? It went and it stayed there and started exploiting. Like how the Britishers also, they came to India and established their colonies into certain parts of India. So that is what is known as colonialism. Means when one country exploits another country by making it into a colony. A powerful country, the country which is more stronger on the basis having lots of money, having lots of arms and ammunition, having a strong military, okay, such country will occupy another country which is poor in money, who does not have much arms and ammunition to protect, they do not have much soldiers maybe to protect themselves. So the other one tries to overpower the next one. A powerful country on the basis of economic and military strength occupies another region and establishes its political supremacy. This is known as colonialism. And this tendency of colonialism led to rise of imperialism among the European countries. So this colonialism gave rise to imperialism. Now let's see what is the meaning of imperialism. Okay? Imperialism means a system in which a powerful country controls other countries by establishing its overall domination and establishing many colonies. Okay, imperialism means again a system wherein the Britishers came to India, established many colonies here, tried to control all the domination. They tried to do their, they tried to dominate over India, and they showed their power. They showed their military power also on India, and they established many colonies. Now many countries from Asian and African continent fell prey to this imperialist aspiration of the European nations. So many countries in Asia who were not that powerful at that time, and earlier Africa was not developed. So as the Cape of Good Hope was developed, then the Europeans came to know that this continent also is very rich in natural resources, and hence they started exploiting the tribal people there also, and that's how they established their colonies in Africa also and in Asia also, and they started to overpower, dominate and control, and that is how imperialism began. So this colonialism gave rise to imperialism. Fine. So I hope I'm very much clear with the topic. So in the next class, we would continue with imperialism of British East India Company in India with reference to Europe and India. Fine. So till then you will read your lessons to whatever I have completed. Fine. Thank you.